Welcome everybody in the lessons number 6, reporting in EU project. We are in the framework of the EU funded projects e-Cultures, managing cultural heritage in tourism. So let's have a look at today's presentation and the content. We will have an introduction stating the importance of the topic for EU projects, and then we will have a look at the midterm report, the financial report and the final report, which are three essentials reports that you will have to produce while implementing European funding projects. Most of the European funding projects do work on the basis of this. As always, at the European level, you will have to check specifically according to the funding program you are working with or to the measure you are working with what is actually expected in the reporting in the particular project. So it is important to know only a few report writers are aware of the fact that with each report a new application, respectively an extension of an already approved project, takes place. So with your reporting you actually apply once again for funding. You have to be aware about that. Your grant agreement typically contains a so-called multi-year payments commitment. So you receive payments for several years, but this commitment is subject to all the provision laid out in the agreement. Each report is then a milestone in which the managing authority checks if you have reached all promised goals and milestones. The indicators you have inserted, remember to the logical framework matrix with the indicators, and if the project is running as planned. If not, the grant agreement might be terminated and the project ended. This typically happens if it is clear that the project goals cannot be reached with the given resources of time, money, human resources, etc. etc. A report, therefore, is a very serious milestone for your project, so you have to be careful about it. Usually, the reporting is taken over from the entity coordinating the consortium, from the project management, but also the project partner have to provide the reporting to the coordinator of the project. Assessment on different levels. You have to assess in the reporting the goals of the project, its outcomes, its times goals, technical report, milestones, cost goals, financial report, the compliance with cost and efficiency, eligible versus non-eligible cost, and administration. Is all the accounting transparency? Have you earned cost center for project, etc. etc. These are among other aspects that you will be counting in the report of the project. So the reportment and payment arrangement, like mentioned, you will not receive at once the 100% financing that you have been applying for. You will receive a pre-financing payment. Then, after having, so this is an example of a project, of a already implemented project. Then you will receive further pre-financing payments after 12 months, provided that you submitted a midterm report or an advancing report, and that this report has been approved by the managing authority, by the donor. Then you will receive a second pre-financing payment after 24 months, and then the balance of the final amount of the grant at the end of the project. So you see, this as an example, like mentioned, you should check every time according to the project and with your program coordinator, but here you see, you will not receive 100% of the financing, it goes steps after steps. Each report supports the further extension of the project, like you have seen. And you submit a report after 12 months, then you will receive the second installment of money, then you receive a report, you submit a report after 24 months, and then you will receive another installments, and then the balance after the final report. The managing authority may put additional obligations on the project if not all milestones or deliverables are in line with the proposal, with the planned proposal. Deficit in implementation may lead to grant reduction or, in worst case, an immediate stop to the project. That is a worst case scenario. Reporting is typically divided into two parts, the so-called technical report and the so-called financial report. For each project, you typically need to hand in one interim report or the midterm report per year and a final report after the completion of the project. Each report consists both of a technical and financial report. This is also very important. So you will always you will always be you will have to be careful about these two aspects: the technical report about the deliverables, the products delivered, the activities held, and then the financial report, the money spent, etc., etc. Technical reports help the donor to evaluate if the project will reach its goal. Technical reports may consist of three parts: administrative information, description of the project and the current status, and evaluation of milestones and indicators. Milestones should be based on the project plans, indicators on the logical framework matrix that we have already seen, and reports have to be verified for each funding program. There are no standard templates. The financial reports are demanded by the managing authority to specific due dates. These financial reports consist of overview of the project, accounting records, and bills and receipts. The EU or its agency provide form and/or online tools which have to be used for reporting purposes. So you're not left alone. You will receive everything necessary to fulfill these reports, but you will then have to fulfill them with the requested information. So here we provide you with some checklists for good reporting. Start early, stay in contact with your managing authority, and be alert of the deadlines. Never skip the deadline. This is very, very important while reporting. You should have a constant controlling aggregates in good financial reporting, constant monitoring of your time and quality goals aggregates in good technical reporting. You have to be careful about receipts and bills. You should always have to keep everything. And amendments should always be approved in written form if you have some amendments to do. Amendments are changes. So changes to the original project plan as proposed in the proposal require an amendment in most cases. These need to be communicated to and approved by the managing authority of the project. Only small changes up to 20% usually in budget positions do not need approval, but you need to inform anyway. We suggest you to inform the managing authority, but they do not need to approve it. Extension of milestones is possible and depends on severity of the donor, and these extensions do not increase the grant, so you will never be able to ask for more money than what you originally planned. Changes in output quality or amount are not acceptable without reduction of the budget. Remember this very important point. What happens after handing in the final report? So now we skip to the final report. There is a formal, when you provide the final report, there is a formal assessment by the managing authority, formal acceptance or refusal, review by two external reviewers, and then letter with determination of the final rate, which is also called the balance. If they do not approve the final report, then you will not receive this final rate or also balance. If you need extension to the project, you can do that to extend the project life cycle. One possible amendment is the extension of the project. Does not increase the amount of the project grant, cost neutrality, so you can extend the project 6 months, 1 year, up to 6 months, sometimes up to 1 year, but you will never be able to get more money for that. So no additional funding. So you can extend up to half year, sometimes up to 1 year, but no additional funding. Project closing phase, the balance, up to 90 days after the final report is assessed and approved by the European Commission, the final payment will be installed. If costs are not accepted, the rate will be deducted by this amount. The beneficiary will be discharged, and the final discharge takes place when the period of safekeeping ends, typically after 5 years. So until then, all documents must be rechecked and money may be reclaimed, also for audits purposes. So you will always have to keep everything related to the project, receipts, payments, workload, etc. up to 5 years. Otherwise, you can receive an audit. You can receive an audit and held responsible if you have not kept the receipts. And then you will have to pay back the money. So let's have a conclusion. We have seen different reports during project implementation. They are vital for project prosecution, start in time while making the reports, and you also need information and documents from your partner. These are among the important points to be remembered while doing reports. Thank you very much, and we wish you a nice day.